Page 24, the Marine's Hymn. On this page and the next, they're letting you get some experience of playing these primary chords in the right hand. Remember, I told you need to be doing these in both hands. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, 5/7 chord. Doesn't matter where you play them. It's just the feeling of playing these chords. That's what you're after. Well, here you get to actually see it in the music. And that's part of what we're after here, too, is the idea of recognizing the chords in the music, in the treble clef. Because you've been singing it in the bass clef. Now you need to recognize them in the treble clef also. Now at the top of the page, they show you the chords in the treble clef as warm-ups. I don't like warm-ups. Let's look at the music. Let's talk about Marine's Hymn. 4/4 time, 4 counts in a measure, quarter note gets a count. You got a repeat sign at the first line. You're going to play the first line twice. So really this is 4 lines long. You have a pickup beat in the left hand. We're coming in on beat 4 there. But let's take the right hand first to make sure we have these chords and all. Starting out with the C chord, a whole note here. And the next measure, let's skip that right now. I'll come back to that when I put the hands together. But then after that, you have a C chord, and then the 5/7 chord, and then C chord. Second line, you got to come up here. You're finishing the first line here. The second line is here. Just lift up and move. There's no rest, just lift up and move. Actually, it's a staccato, you're going to have time, but lift up and move. Because that's 4 and 1. See, there's only 3 counts in that last measure, the first line. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then for the last line, you get 1 beat rest to come back down where you were. A little tricky. Left hand gets the melody for the most part. You're here. 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Next measure, I'll come back to it when I put the hands together because it's easier to see it with you work both hands. So skip that measure and go over the next one. The quarter notes. The second line, well, this should be familiar, it's the chords. Because the melody went to the right hand. So you got the 4 chord and 1 chord. And the last line, similar to the first. Actually, it's the same as the first for the left hand. Okay. It's the same as the first in both hands. Okay. Okay. It's kind of nice when the music, you see the stuff over and over and different because that makes learning it a lot shorter. You don't have as much to learn it. Put the heads together here. 4 and 1. Now let's talk about the second measure, this yuck. You have a dotted rhythm between the hands this time. So it's 1 and 2 and 3. That's all that is. You see in the upper staff, you have a quarter rest and an eighth rest. That's 1.5 counts. That's the same amount of time as a dotted quarter note. Because the dot gets half the value of the note, they're the same thing as far as counting goes. So it's 1 and 2 and 3, and that's all it is. It looks ugly, but that's really all it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Make sure you have these rests in the right hand. And the second line, it's not rest. You get the idea? Now once you can master that weird looking measure, hopefully it's not too bad for you. So get rid of the hesitations, no hesitations, it's a steady beat. And we'll think about the articulation because we got slurs and staccatos going on. You got to watch out. We're slurring this melody together. Here, and then lift up. That's all we're after. We're just slurring the melody together. And the chords are fine until you get to the end. Just staccatos. Hinge at the wrist, staccato. And this helps you in making this short because you got a little more time now to get up here for the second line. And then the left hand staccato in the second line. At the same time, you got slurs in the right hand. You get the idea? So you go through and put in the staccatos and the slurs, and then we'll think about the dynamics. That applies to the melody, wherever it's at. Moderately loud, mezzo forte, MF sort of loud. Whatever you think that is, keep everything else in the background. Now there in that weird looking measure, all of that is melody. It's all the same. Lift up. And then this is soft. In the second line, you go up a little bit to loud for the melody. Keep the other stuff in the background. And then the last line, you go back down to moderately soft. In other words, the middle line, or section B as they're calling it, is louder than the rest of it. Because you'll see the section ABA, it's ternary. Remember form, three-part form is ternary. That's really what it is. And it is quite common in music to repeat the section A. A lot of music will do that. You could almost say it's an AABA, four-part. But it's quite common, you'll see it. Speed, it's a march. Left, right, left, right, left, right. About that speed. Eventually, it's got to be accurate. No hesitations anywhere, and that's it. Don't copy me. You make it yours. You get into it and have fun with it. Let's play it together very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. So I'll give us 3 counts because we come in on beat 4. And we are going to take the repeat, but I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'm going to play both hands about the same so you can hear them. We're just checking notes and rhythms is all this is for. 1, ready, and go, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and. Repeat. 1 and 2.